Hi, Lenore here, and I'd like to talk to you about capital budgeting. Specifically, how does it work? Capital budgeting is based on the time value of money. The idea is that $1 today is worth more than $1 in the future. Why is that? Because there's risk going to happen in the future. There is inflation that will happen in the future. Who knows what the Fed will do? Rates will go up and down. So that's the premise. And these problems for capital budgeting, first, they're based on capital items. Think of capital fixed assets, large dollar items. Sometimes they're investments. And we need to be able to compare money that we purchase things with right now, today, versus savings or benefits that we will receive in the future. We can't compare them dollar to dollar because there is risk in the future. So we rely on what we call discounting, and that's the present value of money in the future. What's its present value today? So with these type of problems, I do the problem a little differently than the authors do. I think this method is a little easier, but you be the judge. So let's begin. We have Mark Santos considering opening a gaming store. I love games, by the way. He'd need to invest $50,000 for the equipment and furnishings, and then another $100,000 for inventory and other working capital needs. I don't believe your textbook explains working capital needs as well as it could. Working capital needs is money that you need to put aside because you're going to be using it throughout your year. It's generally for smaller items, supplies. Let's see, he's got a gaming store, so it would be supplies, packing slip, boxes, things that he needs for his gaming store that do not include the equipment and furnishings. So let's begin. I create a chart, and you can't find this chart in your textbook. They use a different type of model. I think this one is simpler. So purchase equipment. We're not receiving this in the future, actually, or paying it in the future. Actually, this is now. So this is where I put now, just so we know it's current. $50,000, because we need to purchase it, it needs to go in as a cash outflow. Cash outflow, because we need to purchase something. The factor for now is always 1.0. And then the net present value is simply the amount multiplied by the factor. The second item is the working capital needs. So at this point in time, we need to make certain that Mark Santos has made a budget for this working capital. So we put it in here, working capital. And if you remember, working capital is the difference between current assets, current liabilities. So this is also now, because he's going to be using it, he's going to be buying things. Again, it's a cash outflow, factor 1.0, and the net present value is multiplying the amount by the factor. Because we need the working capital each year, at the end of this investment, he can, what we call, release working capital. He won't need it anymore, so we don't need to restrict that cash. So what I do is I put working capital release, because that's almost a source of money. We had to pay it out as a use for, I'm looking for 6 years, and now at the end of the 6th year, we can use it as a source again. So this is going to occur, let me write working capital release. So we're going to treat this as an inflow because we no longer have to restrict the cash. But we need to discount this money because it's in the future. So I want to show you, here we are, the time value of money chart. And there are two different charts. Present value of $1 is what we consider a lump sum. You're only going to receive that dollar amount once. Present value of annuity means that you're going to receive or pay the same dollar amount year after year after year. So that's an annuity. Think of annual annuity and present value as a lump sum. If you play the lotto, you've heard about receiving all 26 years as a lump sum now rather than waiting 26 years in the future. So we have 6 years. So this is how you read this. The working capital release will occur once, and that's at the end of 6 years. And I think we almost have both on. So he's looking at a discount rate of 15%. He wants an investment rate of 15%. So here's 15%. Here's 6 years. This is the factor that we're going to multiply that 100,000 by 0.432. So let's put it in, 0.432. This will tell us, given a 15% investment rate, that this $100,000 at the end of 6 years in the future right now is worth $43,200. So we've got those 3 items. Let's see what else we have. Rent on the building will be $25,000 per year. So let's write that down. Rent on the building. And you don't have to write this much of a description for your item. So rent on the building is going to be for years 1 through 6, right? Every year. Whoops. Every year, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5, year 6. And the dollar amount is $25,000. And the factor, this is where we're going to use the annuity table. So again, here's the annuity table. Year 6, 15%, 3.784. Put it right here, 3.784. Here's a hint. If you're looking at a lump sum table, the factors will generally be less than 1. If you're looking at an annuity, the factors will be greater than 1. So we've got the rent on the building each year. There's our factor. What else do we have? In addition to rent, other cash outflows for operating will amount to $44,000. So let's put that in. Operating outflows. And did you notice what I did? This $25,000 is an outflow, right? We're going to be paying for our rent. And here's additional. This would be probably salaries, insurance, things like that. And it's the same period of time. And this is $44,000. It's going to be the same factor because, again, it's an annuity. And there we go. So this is the present value of $44,000 being received at the end of 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. So Mark estimates that the annual cash inflow, that could be net income, revenue, will amount to $100,000. So let's put that in. Annual cash inflow. Again, it's the same period of time, years 1 through year 6. Only this is a cash inflow. And again, we're going to use the same factor because it is an annuity. Okay. What else do we have here? Mark plans to operate the business for only 6 years. That 6 is what indicates these items. He estimates the equipment and furnishings could be sold at that timing, meaning at the end of 6 years, for about 10% of its original cost. So this is, what should we call this? Sale of equipment and furnishings. And this is going to be only at the end of 6 years. And it's at 10%. So it's going to be 10% of this number. So equal $50,000 multiplied by 10%. And that's $5,000. The factor, lump sum, so let's grab this one here. And then copy down this. So the discount rate is 15%. There it is. Would you advise Mr. Santos to open the gaming store? Round everything to the nearest whole dollar. So here's how we're netting this. Net present value works. We're going to net all these items, and if the amount is greater than 0, then it's got a value. If this were less than 0, meaning that there would be more outflows than inflows, then we wouldn't want to take this chance. But right now it's a $12,664. That's with discounting the money. So we would advise Mr. Santos to open this gaming store. The indication is that the net present value is, I don't like to say it, but positive number, meaning the inflows outweigh the outflows. So that's how you do a capital budgeting problem. Lenore out.